Hello guys, what's up? This is Mortaza. Welcome back to Coder's Journey. This is the next episode of our jQuery tutorial here at my YouTube channel. I hope you've already watched the previous videos. If that's not the case, please make sure you do. In this video, I've decided to talk a little bit about selectors, right? Selectors in jQuery allow us to select a specific element, right? And then, for example, attach some behavior to it. For example, suppose that in this simple, HTML file, right? I have a script section, right? And I have a button here. And suppose that I want to select this button, right? And then, for example, attach some behavior to its, for example, click event, right? So there are different ways to select an element. We are going to talk about each one of them. For example, you can select all the p elements right here on the document by using the selector, this selector. Let me show you the element selector, right? So basically you can put in the p element, and this means that you want to select all of the p elements here. So, or for example, for this button, because we only have one button here, right, we can go and say we want to select the button, right? And then, for example, we can attach some behavior to its click event, right? So this is of course a function, right? And then function, right? And then, for example, we can say that we want to, I'm gonna need a semicolon here, right? We can also make some indentation here, and we can, for example, select a specific paragraph or all paragraphs and then hide them, right? So I'm gonna say p, of course I need to add the $sign here, and then I can say hide. So basically what I am doing here is that I am selecting the button, and then I am adding a function to its click event, and then using this function I am hiding all the p elements here. I'm gonna save this file, right? I'm gonna save it. I'm gonna come here. I have this file open in the browser, episode 6, and let me click here. And as you can see, when I click, all the p elements, right, all the p elements are going to be hidden, right? So I'm going to refresh here, and once again I can hide all of the p elements. So basically this is the first way of selecting an element, right? By just putting in the tag name, you can select it, and then you can do something with it. Another way of selecting an element is using its ID. So for example, suppose I want to select a paragraph, right, whose ID is first p, not these two, just the first one, right? So the ID of course needs to be unique if you want to select an element based on that ID. And in order to select an element based on its ID, you just need to copy the ID and put it here. But because it's an ID, don't forget to add the hashtag or the sharp or a square. This has many names, this character. Anyway, you put it, and then you put it here, and then you put in the ID of the element, and this will help you to select specifically the element whose ID is, for example, first p, right? And then I'm gonna save, refresh, and click, and as you can see, only the first paragraph is gonna get hidden. So basically not all of them, but the first one. So we are selecting here based on the element, here based on the ID. We can also select based on the class name, right? Just like the CSS selectors. Here we have two paragraphs whose class is set to the value same class, right? So the first paragraph doesn't have a class applied to it, but the second and the third paragraph have the value same class for the attribute class. So in order to select elements based on their class, you can add dot, right, and then the value of the class attribute. So basically using this code, I am selecting these two p tags, right? And then I'm gonna hide them. I'm gonna save, refresh, watch closely. The second and the third paragraphs are gonna disappear. You see exactly how it's done, right? And of course you can mix and match them, right? For example, suppose that I have, let's say, an h tag, right? and h1 tag, we don't have the ID, but we have the same class here, right? So two paragraphs with the class, same class, one h tag with the class, same class. Using this code, I'm going to select all of these three elements. Why? Because all of them have the value same class for their class attribute. But if I want to only select the paragraphs whose class is set to the value same class, I can put a P here. So basically, I am mixing the class selector using the element selector. So basically, I am saying that I want all the P tags whose class is set to the value same class. So if I refresh here, if I refresh here, save here, refresh here, when I click this button, this will not disappear even though it has the value same class for its class attribute. Why not? Because it's not a P element, right? It's an H1, and I have specified here that I just want to select the P elements whose class attribute is set to the value same class. So I'm gonna click here, and as you can see, we have the first paragraph and the H tag. There are also other the combinations that you can use. For example, you can say P first, which will select the first paragraph element. So P first will select the first paragraph element. I'm going to save, refresh here, look here, the first paragraph will hide, right? And of course, next to first, we can also use last. So if I say p.last, p colon last, it will select the last P element. If I come here and refresh, and if I click, the last P will disappear. There are many other ways to select an element, in jQuery and then attach some behavior to it. But I'm gonna wrap up this video here. Hope you've enjoyed it. If that's the case, give it a like, give it a thumbs up. You can also share it with a friend, and I hope to see you in the next video.